I'm like, yeah, man, we got like 80, I'd love to sell it out, but you know what? If we don't, it's totally fine. And I will never forget about 10 minutes before the show started, our stage manager comes back to our dressing rooms and she just comes in the room and goes, we just sold out. I will never, ever forget this. It was 2018 or 2019, one of the two. Shane and I were finishing up the project, the first one we ever worked on together. That project would go on to be my debut EP as an artist. And one of the main songs on that project is a song called Intoxicating. And the way that song came about was that Shane had created like a minute of this instrumentation and he had sent it to me and said, hey, I kind of like this. Do you think you could write and do something with this? And pretty much it consisted of drums, a slap and bass line, and then he had created this very 80s dance synth, this very bright, very like aggressive synth that kind of drove the whole thing. And it was like the main characteristic that drew us both to want to work on that and make it into like a full song. And so we worked on it. I wrote the lyrics for it. We put it all together and we're rounding the corner to finish up the whole project. And we have this friend, Mike, who we decided we should bring him in and have him listen to everything because Mike had done a ton of stuff in the industry. He was a really high caliber mixer, has really, really great credits. We coincidentally became friends with him. And so we brought him in to just kind of listen to everything. And he's listening to Intoxicating. And he's sitting back, he's listening. My heart is beating out of my chest because I'm like, this dude's legit. And, I hope he likes what we're doing. And he sits back for a second. He's being very like analytical, just kind of like, just kind of listening. And then he goes up to the board. And my heart was like, oh no. Like, I hope he doesn't hate this. And he says to Shane, he goes, where is that synth? And Shane goes, oh, that's this fader right here. And I was like, okay, maybe he's going to like pull it or like turn it down or do something with it. And he just goes, mute. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Shane, but I think the hair on both of our necks stood up a little bit because like that was the song to us. Like that was the main thing of that song to us. And he just hits mute, and then I just remember he puts his arms like this, and he just goes, "Listen." And we listened to it, and I was really confused. I said to him, I was like, "Do you want to take it out of this chorus?" And he goes, "No, get rid of it. You don't need that. You don't need that in the song." And I'll never forget this. He's like, "There's no reason you need that in the song." He said, "This bass line is cooking. That needs to be the focal point of the song." And we took his advice, we toyed with it, and like added a couple little things to give it a little extra sauce, but like that made it into the final project. And it was so crazy. We like never imagined that thing was going to get taken out, but a fresh pair of ears just totally changed the whole thing. It was nuts. When Shane and I were finishing up this project that would go on to be my debut project as an artist, we wanted to do this huge show. We just wanted to do the biggest show that we could do to launch this project. So we spent months planning an album release show at Red House Art Center right here in downtown Syracuse. We were in touch with the venue. He worked for the venue. He still does to this day. So he had access to all their tech, and we kind of had like a lot of room to like play with it and really make our own thing out of it. And we sold our own tickets. We sold tickets through like Eventbrite. We're promoting it all ourselves. Like we really were like producing this entire show on our own. And it was like 6 to 8 months of really hard work. And I remember I'm the person that set the ticket link up. And so I got emails every time a ticket got bought. And so for the first like 5 months that we're selling tickets, I'm getting nervous the entire time because I think leading up to about 2 or 3 weeks before the show, we had sold like 30 tickets. And I'm putting this on my socials. I'm putting flyers up everywhere. I'm texting everyone I know, like, here's a link. You got to come to the show. It's going to be so great. And, 2 or 3 weeks out, we're at like 30 tickets. And it's worth mentioning the cap of the room was like 105 people. So that's how many we were looking to sell. 2 or 3 weeks out, we got 30. So I'm getting like super nervous. I'm like, we're gonna get to this show. We're gonna have like 50 people, and it's gonna be so lame. And I was like super worried about it. And luckily, miraculously, in like the 5 days leading up to the show, I was getting emails like multiple times a day, like 2 tickets bought, 5 tickets bought, 7 tickets bought, and I'm like seeing the numbers go up. And I think by the day of the show we hit like 80 tickets, and I was like, okay, I can live with 80. If we get 20 under our cap, I can live with that. And so it's the day of the show. What was super cool about Red House was we really got like a whole theater experience. So we had like dressing rooms, a shower in the back. Like we did our sound check. Everyone went and got ready. It was this whole big production. And we had a stage manager. It was a friend of ours who was wonderful. She was just in charge of kind of making sure everything was where it needed to be. And I owe my life to that girl. And so we're in like 20 minutes before the show is gonna start, and I'm like, yeah, man, we got like 80. I'd love to sell it out, but you know what? If we don't, it's totally fine. And I will never forget, about 10 minutes before the show started, our stage manager comes back to our dressing rooms, and she just comes in the room and goes, "We just sold out." We hit our 105 cap, and like the adrenaline that rushed through my body in that moment of like, oh my God, we did it. I looked right at Shane. I gave him like this big hug. I'm like, bro, we did it. Like I cannot believe we just pulled this off. And not only that, but I think like cut to 5 minutes later, our stage manager comes back into the room and goes, "Can we sell like 7 more tickets?" I guess this family had shown up or something. We wound up selling out, but then we also like oversold the venue. I think it wound up being like oversold by like 15, 20 tickets. And it was so wild because like coming up with that idea to do that show, we knew there was so much risk going into it. And so to walk out on that stage knowing like we just pulled in more than we wanted, it was exhilarating. This event is what kicked off my artistry for me. I'd done some stuff before. I'd done, open mics, done a couple like acoustic shows, but I'd never played with a band for my own music. I'd never done like the backing tracks things that our team does. This was the first time that my vision for what I wanted my artistry live to look like. It's the first time it came to be. This was the first time.